Alfred says, I seen an article where they said we will be a worse team without Carr. Am I missing something? We're going to win 2 games instead of 5. We're paying $40 million for a dude that can't get us to the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, what are you paying for? A guy that's not going to get you to the playoffs? Like, you can do that with Spencer Rattler. You can do that with Jake Hayner. You can do that with Daniel Jones. You can do that with a journeyman backup. You can do that with Andy Dalton. So you're going to pay a guy $40 million to have you on the outside looking in, or keeping you from actually reaching your full potential because he can win you a couple of games where you're picking outside of the top 10. I'd rather lose. Look, I'd rather somebody, not lie to me than to try to tease me or something. Like, don't do that. Like, if we going to stink, let's just go ahead and stink for the betterment of the team. Like, I know people don't want to go through that, and people they talk about like how these organizations they kind of be circling the wagons and stuff like that, or they try to stink it up one year, and then the next thing you know, like they try to get better. Like, for every team that you see, right? Like the Jets, like they'll say the Jets, they always use the Jets when they talking about ineptitude, but the Jets have been a trash organization for years. Decades, if you will, because I mean, we all heard the stories about Woody Johnson, talking to his teenage sons who playing Madden. They didn't want Jerry Jeudy because his Madden grade was low. When you have standards and practices like that, of course you're going to be terrible. But for every Jets, there's the Texans. Anybody remember with Lovie Smith? Lovie Smith, they were trash, but they ended up going to the draft, drafting Will Anderson, drafting C.J. Stroud, their future franchise quarterback, and they've been in the playoffs ever since. Back-to-back years in the postseason. So I'm just saying, like, you can say that, oh, man, you might go down this downward spiral and you never will be able to recover. If you look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, man, we got to fix this problem, we got to get this issue resolved, then do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? But come to grips with who you are and make the best decisions. And if you don't have the right people in the building to make those decisions, you need to be finding them, just like you're trying to find your next head coach. So as far as I'm concerned, like, what are we talking about? Like, Derek Carr, yeah, he can win you some games, but once again, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to just keep some behinds and seats? Are we just trying to keep the popcorn hot, the peanuts roasted? What are we trying to do? Like, are we trying to do that? Are we just trying to sell some T-shirts? Are we trying to win some football games? Are we trying to be a competent organization? Is my question for all those out here that's talking about please keep Carr. Look, I ain't trying to be in the department of desperation. I'm not in the depression or the desperate department. Do you hear me? Like I can remember this, man. So I remember going to a interest meeting. I'm serious. I went to an interest meeting like when I was pledging a fraternity, right? If you have something to say about fraternity, that's your opinion, all right? Everybody has their opinions, but look, I'm in one. But anyway, I was going to an interest meeting, and I can remember my soon-to-be player's father, when I went to that interest meeting, he said, we would love to have you, but we don't need you. And I'm like, man, what you talking about, man? Like, man, we trying to turn this thing around, man. Y'all ain't have a line and I don't know how long. What you talking about, right? But it registered with me. Like, man, we want, you know what I'm saying? We want results. Like, we want somebody that's going to bring some stability, some quality to what we're actually doing. And we rather like sit up here and look and have a drought, right? That always stuck in my head, right? And I feel the same way with the Saints. Like, we don't need this dude, right? What are you doing? Like, I can do bad by myself. I can suck without you. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'd rather be miserable without you than miserable with you. Like, with Derek Carr, you're just wasting your time. You're wasting your time, bro. Like, you wasting your time thinking that this dude gonna lead you anywhere. You need too much of a perfect situation for Derek Carr to thrive. Derek Carr is making Too much money. Like you can say, oh, well, it's the NFL. When based on quarterbacks, he's not making a lot of money. Derek Carr is making way too much money to be mediocre, to not be the main reason why your team isn't finding success. Period. Stop trying to turn a mountain into a molehill. Stop trying to put a square peg into a round hole. We can talk about it all you want to, but the reality is this. Dude making way too much money for him to be stinking it up and not elevating people around him. And a couple deep balls to Rashid Shaheed a game or two is not going to move the needle. It's just not. Stand there in the pocket, holding on to the ball too long, checking it down time after time. Alvin Kamara, 12 catches for 12 yards. Man, miss me with that. Like, if I'm going to suck and I'm going to stink, I'd rather do it with a young quarterback that's growing and developing and trying to figure it out. The 0-6 start with Spencer Rattler doesn't waver me at all about him as a quarterback at all. Like, people are like, well, he was 0-6. They didn't win any games without Derek Carr. So the freak what? Because on one hand, you got a rookie that doesn't have anything around him, got some backup guys you're going to see in preseason game 3, he's throwing the ball to that's protecting him, versus Derek Carr, who is supposed to be a seasoned veteran in his 11th season. He's supposed to understand the defense. He's supposed to understand the speed of the game. So if he's sitting up there losing and stinking it up and not winning against competent competition and only beating low-hanging fruit, and that's what he tried to do when he came back to that Carolina Panthers game, because he thought, oh, man, this is a perfect game to come back to. The Saints have been losing. I can come back in Carolina, beat up on them a little bit, and Carolina went out there and slapped that boy around. That boy was a 9 factor in that game. You win in 5 games, but which one of those teams that you played against outside? No, I can't even say the Falcons. They ain't even have a winning record. So the fact is, you didn't even beat a winning team. 5 wins, you didn't beat not one team that had a winning record. Low-hanging fruit. So we supposed to throw a parade that you won 5 games against, like, incompetent, bad competition? Like, come on, man. What are we doing? The problem is, man, some of these Saints fans, I'm going to call it for what it is. Some of y'all like Mickey Loomis. Y'all delusional. Like, y'all don't want to face reality. The reality is that this team has to go through some hardships in order for them to find prosperity. The question is, are you willing to be patient with this football team? Some of us are getting mad because we don't want to be patient, because we talking to our Atlanta Falcon buddy and he telling us we're going to stink for the next couple of years and we ain't trying to hear his mouth. I do not care. Why would I sit up here and care about what a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in 7 seasons, what they fan base got to say? Or Carolina Panthers or even Tampa, for that matter. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, get these jokes off right now. Get the jokes off right now. Go ahead and let them hit. But eventually, I know that I'm building towards something special. Some of us care too much about what people think, and that is what's clouding our judgment. That's the reason why we losing our mind and losing our ish about this state of this team. We have to understand that this team is going to have to stink for a little while. And I'm okay with that, as long as they're going in the right direction, as long as they're not peeing in the air and telling me it's raining. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, don't lie to me. Don't tell me sweet little lies, because I know that what you're saying to me isn't factual. I don't care about what these other organizations are saying. I don't care what the fan base is saying. If I'm building towards something, right? I'm on my little red hen right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on my Noah's Ark right now. You building a boat on dry land. It ain't raining I don't know how long. They laughing at you. Yeah, okay. But when the rain comes, guess who's going to be in this boat? And guess who's going to be knocking on that joint trying to get in? That's what I'm on.